Good evening, everybody. I would like to call this meeting to order on November the 21st, 2023 at 7 p.m. We'll stay seated for a moment of silent reflection. Thank you very much. As we gather this evening, I would like to acknowledge on behalf of council and their community that we are meeting on the traditional territory of the Algonquin people. We would like to thank the Algonquin people and express our respect and support for their rich history. And we're extremely grateful for their many and continued displays of friendship. We also thank all the generations of people who have taken care of this land for thousands of years. So I'm pleased to welcome 3 new employees to our Public Works Department. Thomas Hardwick was hired as full-time equipment operator. He has experience in municipal snow plowing as well as operating excavators and grading. Our 2 seasonal operators are Phil Krieger and Jason May. Ollie Hayes has been contracted for 2 days per week to provide leadership support and development. County of Brantford Planning Department has been unsuccessful in filling a vacant planning position since February of 2023. Competition for planners is an ongoing challenge for municipalities throughout the province of Ontario. As a result of plan amendments, zoning amendments, and site plans are being delayed despite staff's best efforts. County Council approved the continuation of the junior planner internship program to provide training for new planners as well as assisting staff with the increased workload. At the Development and Property Committee meeting on November 14th, 2023, a delegation from the County of Frontenac provided information on the Frontenac Communal Services Agreement and 3 new development projects using their new Terra modular waste and sewage treatment system for local communities without the traditional water and sewage treatment services. A copy of the presentation is attached as information. On November 23rd, 2023, 5 targeted strategic input sessions are scheduled at the County of Brantford Administration Building. Business, community, and municipal leaders from a wide range of sectors have been invited to participate and provide further input to help shape the plan. On November 30th, 2023, from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m., the Brantford County Community Futures Development Corporation is hosting a funder forum at the Horton Community Center. This free forum is an opportunity for business and community organizations to learn about funding opportunities and how to submit a successful application. So I have a resolution that the November 21st, 2023 Mayor's Address be accepted as presented, moved by Councillor Deschamps, seconded by Councillor Burns. Comments? Seeing none, Councillor Burns? Yes. Councillor Buchwald?
Yes.
Councillor Robinson?
Yes.
Councillor Deschamps?
Yes.
And yes, carried. Thank you. Are there any declarations of pecuniary interest in the general nature thereof? Seeing none, we have no delegations tonight, so we'll move into reports. And item 7.1 is the Snowdrifters facility strategic and promotional plans. I forgot the minutes. Oh, I am sorry. I did, yes. My apologies. So I have a motion that the November 7th, 2023 regular council minutes be accepted as presented. Moved by Councillor Robinson, seconded by Councillor Buck. Any additions, corrections, or omissions? Seeing none, Councillor Burns? Yes. Councillor Buchwald?
Yes.
Councillor Robinson?
Yes.
Councillor Deschamps?
Yes.
Yes, that's carried. Thank you. I was trying to get Michelle home earlier. So now we'll move to report. I have a motion that council accepts the Snowdrifters Facility Strategic and Promotional Plan report as presented. And further, that council directs the advisory committee to council to generate a report of possible utilization of the facility. And further, that the council report template be amended to include under consultations in the subheading forward to advisory committee to council. And I got a mover and a seconder, moved by Councilor Robinson, seconded by Councilor Buckwald. Comments, questions? Seeing none, Councilor Burst. Yes. Councilor Buckwald.
Yes.
Councilor Robinson.
Yes.
Councilor Rector.
Yes.
I'm a yes. Carried. Item 7.2 is the County of Renfrew map. I have a motion that council accepts the report regarding the 2024 County of Renfrew map. And further, that council approves ad sides 2 in both advertising opportunities at a cost of $1,020 plus HST. Moved by Councilor Robinson, seconded by Councilor Burke. Comments or questions? Councilor Rector.
You know, if Sean Woods was informed about this opportunity. I missed the last board meeting.
So did I.
Oh, well, there we go. So I don't know if somehow we could just forward that information.
We should be able to forward that to Steve Bowl. Yeah. Any other comments? Questions?
No, I was just trying to remember if they were advertised in it last year. It's in county,
Any other comments, questions? Seeing none, Councilor Burke. Yes. Councilor Buckle,
yes.
Councilor Robinson,
Yes.
Councilor Rector.
Yes.
Yes, it's carried. Thank you. Item 7.3 is the Community Emergency Preparedness Grant. I have a motion that council accepts the report regarding the Community Emergency Preparedness Grant. And further, that council authorizes staff to apply for the grant for the Snowdrifters facility. And further, that council approves Special Projects Coordinator Cameron Montgomery assisting Boncher Valley Township in applying for the grant for the Foy Mount Communication Tower, which our fire department also uses. Moved by Councilor Burke, seconded by Councilor Buckle. Comments or questions? Councilor Buckle.
Just an update since this report was done. I've spoken with Boncher Valley Township. It is their intent to apply for a grant at that location. So I provided Cameron with particulars and give her heads up that they might be coming to her for assistance.
And sorry, go ahead, Councilor Rector.
Is this this is a totally new grant? I'm assuming, like we've never
Yes.
had, and is it 100%?
I believe it is.
Up to 50,000, yeah.
Up to 50,000, okay, and so that would be 2 separate grants, I'm assuming, one for BV for the radio tower and the other one for us, right?
Yeah, BVs would be their own. We would just be giving them like a letter of support, and Cameron would assist them with the completing of the application.
Mhm.
The chief and I had spoken with Cameron about us applying for a grant up there, but it's not our physical property, even though we have equipment there under agreement. So there was some concern that we wouldn't be eligible for the grant that way, so kind of decided it was best to go with to focus on the Snowdrifter site for this grant.
Okay, and the other thing too is, I mean, it's nice if we do get the grant money. I mean, but like the Snowdrifters is a far piece away from any flooding areas. I mean, it could be used as a command center, but that being said, if we're filling sandbags and stuff somewhere closer to Golden Lake to do.
Yeah, so this the Snowdrifter site, the advantage to it is because again, it does have the kitchen, it has space, it could be a warming center in the winter, a cooling center in the summer. We could use it as an alternate operations center if we had to. It would make a great media center if we had a large incident and we had to provide a site for the media, which is something that we've never really had because our buildings would all be in use. So this would be a good site for that.
And the other question I just have where it said water quality insufficiency. So like, I don't really, I've never really seen us have bad water during a major flood. Like water insufficiency,
Correct.
right, but I mean, I don't,
We were in level 2 conditions several years ago.
right, but I mean, if people still have water in the wells, I mean, that being said, they could have maybe like watered the lawn and watered the car and all that other stuff, but.
Well, we actually did have people who needed water that their wells weren't functioning during the last little water event. And then we provided water. I know neighboring communities also did.
But how would having a generator, no drifters, help people?
But they could come there and get water from the well. It's, I don't want to take the CEMC's thunder on this, but, we have the ability with these facilities to use them either as alternate command centers. In the event of an emergency, we can use them as emergency reception centers. And again, the same situation that caused the emergency can take the power out. So you need power to run those facilities. So my personal opinion, every municipal building should have backup power. If it's just essential, it needs to have backup power. I mean, this is another site that, again, it's got so many potential uses during a regional or local emergency.
And I just had two comments. One, I know in the 2017 flood that some people who had wells, their wells were actually flooded over because of the
A lot around the lake, yes.
in the river.
There was a lot of them actually.
So that's where the water quality issue came in. The other one was in regards to the tower employment. Is this like a stopgap measure until the county decides what direction they're going with new communications? Or will that tower continue to be in operation?
Realistically, that tower is going to continue even when the county moves ahead, because we would still be using it for our internal communications, both for public works and most likely for fire. Just simply because it's a prime location for a tower to be able to cover our township. And without getting into a lot of discussion about the county's options, realistically, I don't see a lot of them working in our community. Just because of the topography. I know there's several other communities that won't work in either. And the simplest way is just, you know, what we offer, ask them how good their portable radios work throughout the county, and they'll tell you where all jet spots are. So there would be a huge investment in infrastructure to add more towers in the right places, and you still won't cover any place that's at the bottom of a hill, even if the tower right at the top of it. Because even with Foyman, if you're down in Cormac, you have limited radio coverage down there because you're literally in the shadow of the hill, and radio signals are being sent in this way.
Well, that's good information, because I wasn't sure if this was a continued operation plan. And I do agree with you, at least Florida being such a high spot is a great place for a tower for communications.
Yeah, realistically, like I've seen different things that the Donnex report presented to county council, and looking at them and knowing a little bit about radio comms, I don't see us getting rid of our equipment. I can see our equipment possibly even tied into their system, so that we have interoperability, that we can use our radio system on the network, but still going through our tower, just giving us the better coverage.
Right. Okay, any other, and the grant for the generator, we're probably not going ahead with the generator without the grant, correct?
That's correct, yeah.
Any other comments? Seeing none, Councilor Burke,
Yes.
Councilor Buckle,
Yes.
Councilor Robinson,
Yes.
Councilor Eckert,
Yes,
and yes, very good. Item 9.1 is the non-action items. I have a motion that council accepts correspondence items 9.1.1 to 9.1.6 as information. Moved by Councilor Robinson, seconded by Councilor Buckle.
Just one clarification,
Sure.
is the tree lighting on Thursday for sure? That's not a peak there on the day, okay? Thanks.
Any other questions? Thank you, Barthol.
And the lights were tested today. Chief Chan and a couple other volunteers, including from the business that's supporting it, were down there with a boom truck today, replacing bulbs and checking wires and making sure that everything is ready to go.
Lovely day to be up in the boom truck.
They just really enjoyed that this morning. Fortunately, it was before the snow.
Thank you. Seeing no other comments, Councillor Burt?
Yes.
Councillor Buckwell?
Yes.
Councillor Robinson?
Yes.
Councillor Rector Schoenfeld?
Yes,
And a yes. Aaron? Item 9.2.1 is the town of Arnprior. And I have a motion, whereas the Township of North Algona Wilberforce received correspondence from the town of Arnprior, and that the council of the Township of North Algona Wilberforce support the recommendation of the Arnprior Fire Department on the continuation of funding for the hoarding program operated by Mental Health Services of Renfrew County through the Pembroke Regional Hospital. And further, that a copy of this resolution be circulated to Pembroke Regional Health and the County of Renfrew in support of the MHSRC hoarding program. I'm gonna move in a second, and moved by Councillor Burns, seconded by Councillor Buckwell. Comments or questions? Seeing none, Councillor Burns,
Yes.
Councillor Buckwell,
Yes.
Councillor Robinson,
Yes.
Councillor Rector Schoenfeld,
yes,
and a yes, Terry. Item 9.2.2 is the leader, and I have a motion that council directs the purchase of a half-page, 8-inch wide by 5-inch high ad at $375 plus HST in the Leader 2023 Christmas publication. Moved by Councillor Buckwell, seconded by Councillor Burt. Comments or questions? Seeing none, Councillor Burt,
Yes.
Councillor Buckwell,
Yes.
Councillor Robinson,
Yes.
Councillor Rector Schoenfeld,
yes,
and a yes, carried. Thank you. Item 14.3 is the municipal law enforcement options. I have a motion, the council accepts the municipal law enforcement options report as information, and further that the township enter into a 5-year contract with MLES using the contract rate. Can I get a move in a second? Moved by Councillor Buckwell, seconded by. Do I have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Burt. Comments by Councillor Robinson.
I just have a concern. Because our prices were going down, the financial implication for the law enforcement. And we're going into, go into, an agreement that pretty much is 3 times our profit price.
That's
I would agree with Councillor Robinson, like, it seemed that, and like, I guess what really struck me with the statistics, it would be interesting now what it was like the previous year. But it doesn't look like there was a lot, and I think through education and maybe continuing on what we're doing, and if there is something that happens on the weekend, as long as the public knows, you know, the first thing they're gonna have to do is call on Monday. Because I agree, it's nearly like $9,000 more than we're paying now. So I would rather go with what we have and maybe educate our ratepayers and customers better than enter into an agreement for 5 years. That's $50,000 plus.
Oh, Yeah, Councilor Buckle.
I have concerns about the cost too, considering the number of service calls that we get. I think that the biggest thing that we have to look at is if we're going to go with our own people, we have to basically set office hours for bylaw response, and it will not be after hours.
Exactly.
Because if you're gonna do it after hours, now you're getting into standby pay. And even looking at the standby pay, if the officer goes out, are we sending them out alone? If there's only one person on standby? I'm not comfortable with that.
No.
Right, as a contract company, how they do it is up to them because it's their employees. But I would be very uncomfortable sending one of our people out alone to deal with an issue. Because we've seen some of the contentious issues in this township in the last couple of years.
So the other thing we do have to consider is as part of the Promoting Affordable Housing Act, that every municipality must now enforce the residential rental maintenance standards. And we have not been doing that, so that's something we have to consider moving forward as well. Councilor Buckler.
I think that would be something that could probably be addressed during regular office hours. Again, because if you're gonna be dealing with this, with property standards, you're gonna want to do the inspections during regular hours or daytime hours for the tenant. Again, it still leaves us with the situation of we have one bylaw officer or MLO or whatever name you want to use one who does work regular hours, but the backups and secondaries do not. So we'd have to find an appropriate compensation method for them as well. Because I know one of them works full time and the other one has some physical limitations. So we may have to look at who we have as our municipal LEOs as well. If we're to continue with it. I agree, we do have to have some process in place. So whether that's in-house or whether that's contract, but again, for the number of calls that we have, that's a pretty big financial bite from my perspective.
It's huge.
Yes.
And perhaps we should look at recruiting within house another bylaw officer. At some point in time, that could take the burden off and ease the workload on the ones who do that.
Well, it is something that we should take a look at, even how to prioritize, because we have our bylaw enforcement officer, who is also our CBO, who is also our livestock. And she's also fire prevention. So at some point, we have to set the priorities. What happens then when a bylaw call comes in? If that person is on site doing a building inspection, they're not just gonna drop everything and run, so. I agree, there has to be, I think, at least one other person trained.
And also the livestock evaluator, I mean, to me, it doesn't happen all the time, but perhaps you could still take it off her plate and somebody else may. We had before a member of our municipality that did it, right? So we might look at just saying, you know, you have so much, let's look at what we can do to take stuff off your plate. And that would be one that we could take off your plate that isn't onerous, because probably the office could tell you how many times they haven't called it.
I would imagine there's probably less than 10 funds per year.
I think my understanding is the biggest thing, if once the inspection gets the paperwork and the following up on the payments and such afterwards, that are the biggest challenge for staff. Because again, you have to get the payment back to process for the ratepayer. And then once that's back, then it's going to be processed. So I think that's more of an administrative follow-up thing.
And I would also just say that for livestock valuer, they have to attend the scenes in a certain number of days, and the report has to be submitted within a certain number of days. So there is a time limit on time constraint on livestock value applications.
Just a question for staff. So is Jill our only current livestock evaluator on?
That's correct, yes.
Okay, because I know we used to have 2 or 3 that were appointed in the past.
I believe that's 10 viewers. Yeah.
Yeah,
There's been only one for a long time.
yeah. I don't think we've ever had more than that.
Well, okay. I thought we did, but yeah, I know we had multiple fence viewers,
Mhm.
but I thought at one point we did for livestock as well. Okay.
So just again, if we're going to separation of duties and training of additional people, that first year, certainly the costs are going to be maybe similar to 2020 or possibly 2021, I would say maybe closer to what we'd be looking at, so.
But once we have them trained, then it goes back down to 2022 levels.
The thing is, I guess for bylaw, there's not a lot of people lining up to do that job, so.
And that's the thing,
Again,
and
it's a tough one.
that's why the company with the proposal, they are picking up clients, a lot of clients that are in our situation. If they're willing to provide full-time coverage, realistically, is that a bad price for a year? No. Compared to what we're used to? Yes. Because that's giving you.
And there still could be issues with them because they prioritize their calls and their priority might be different than our priority. Right? And then I also had an issue, like not an issue, a question about how do the fines work and truly like how many fines have we really issued? You know, and there was that part when we did the service review and Holly even talked about the fact like, do you need bylaw? You know, and as much as I thought that was a crazy thing to say, really, I start really thinking about it and do we need it? You know, like the people that have complained about the dogs, it doesn't seem we've necessarily helped them sometimes. And the people that complain about noise, it's noise happening like on Friday night, does that actually help them? Like, and I'm thinking really not. And if it's a real issue, then they'd go to a small claims court or the police would be involved or, you know, there's a number of different ways to tackle those problems. And to me, hiring another agency isn't necessarily gonna make those problems go away. So we've just now increased, you know, what we have to somehow either get more residents to pay money, or like to me, $10,000 could be spent on something else. As opposed to, you know, and when you looked at the number of calls we did have. I mean.
That's about all.
I think something we would need to look into, do some more research into. The requirements of the province as to how we enforce residential maintenance. If that has to be done through bylaw officers or if that can be done through another administrative process. Because if we can do that without having to go through bylaw staff. Then there may be a way to do that through the CBO's duties.
The only thing with that, residential rental maintenance standards. A lot of that is coming into place because of the short-term rental issues that are becoming a big problem for some of the other municipalities. I mean, Prince Edward County is a prime example where they're really having to bring in new bylaws to address the influx of people on weekends and short-term rentals. Even Madawaska Valley is having some major challenges with it, so. I think it's something that we have to be aware of, and certainly, it mightn't be a bad idea to have some sort of a, policy in place, or we should have a process that we can address those complaints if and when they do come up. Because sometimes these short-term rentals are operating without the proper insurance coverage.
Safety equipment.
They don't have the proper inspections for fire code and building code, approvals, so. That's a record.
Kind of going along with the short-term rentals though, and my biggest concern is there's some people in our municipality that are living year-round in either a trailer or one of the Mennonite houses, like the sheds. You know, and so either on a vacant lot, that's what they're paying taxes on, but they're living there all the time and guaranteed they're not meeting the safety standards. I mean, that could be bundled in with the property standards and the short-term rentals.
It's just something that it could become a bigger issue that might require more time. Is there any time commitment on when we would have to make a decision on this? My other question is, if we went with a contract, they sometimes will waive charges or fines, and some of that money comes back to the municipality. Is that how that works?
So that is true, so through the prevention, PO and Parental Offences Act, the township does sometimes receive fine, revenue, through that process. And as to the timeline for the proposal, I do believe that, they're in the process of finalizing their operations for 2024. So we wouldn't have to make a decision tonight, but we would need to make it, prior to the end of the year.
That's all right, Michelle.
And they want to go with a 5-year contract, they wouldn't go anything less.
They didn't specify 5 years. Some of our other surrounding municipalities have entered into 5-year contracts. We could inquire if they would be willing to enter into a 2-year or 3-year contract.
And I'd like that.
Well, it would give you an opportunity to test the service and see
That's right.
what you get.
I mean, and if you go back and you're only getting like 10 calls a year, then to me, maybe that means. But 5 times seems like a big commitment. 5 years seems like a big commitment.
If you look at their actual proposal, their recommendation to provide all southern municipalities with contract stability, recommend negotiating 3 to 5 year contract with an annual inflation clause to be beneficial to both the municipality and the contractor, providing a degree of stability over the midterm, blah, 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 blah. I think they would probably be open to it. As I read through the proposal, it looks like because they have other municipalities involved, I think they were hoping that we could kind of lump into a common agreement. So I don't know if that affected the cost for us or not. I think it might be something to have them do a presentation to us to see what and have a question and answer and see exactly what they would look like.
Oh, I was just gonna say, then that probably would be very helpful. They could explain the services that they provide. They could talk more in detail for the property standards for the residential. They can provide more information on that.
And my question would be too, like, let's say, Orange Valley's noise bylaw is this and our bylaw is that. Are they gonna enforce each independently, or are they gonna say, we're gonna develop our own noise bylaw?
It talks about that in here about enforcing our bylaws.
So on just that point, so yes, they will enforce our bylaw, but they will also review our bylaw to ensure that they meet all requirements and to provide any assistance we need. The one thing, our animal control bylaw, it doesn't include, it's an older bylaw, and it doesn't include short-term terms. So that is that causes issues, because we're not able to find dog owners. You have to go through the court system.
So are we, in agreement to defer this until, we can invite the contractor to do a presentation? Or does council have a different direction?
I think that would probably be a good idea to have to meet with them and go over the offer. We may find that it will be cost effective to what compared to what we might have to do in the future.
That's right.
And maybe would it be possible to find the statistics? Like, like not just last year, but the years before? How many bylaw offenses?
We would be able to pull the service stalker, calls.
Okay,
Yeah.
thanks.
All motion is deferred. Councilor Burke? Yes. Councilor Buckle?
Yes.
Councilor Robinson?
Yes,
Councilor Reddy-Dunkel?
Yes,
Yes, it's carried. And staff would contact, yeah, thank you. Are there any matters of urgency? Any notice of motions? Reports from committees? Recreation.
no, I haven't sent my report in just because we had last Thursday was our.
But
Oh, you wanna
A quick
just talk
one.
about, okay, we're gonna have a Christmas parade, it's called the 12 Days of Canadian Christmas, thanks for Laura for bringing that up. So we got some float ideas, so the Saturday, we're gonna get ready, so anybody who's willing to come on the float. We're gonna be in red plaid. So everybody has that, because it goes along with the theme. So if you have any beavers or penguins or whatever, you can bring them on. We're gonna use the candy and purchase some more candy, and the firefighters will give that out as we walk on. And then we had a cool thing, a presentation that you'll learn more about. It was about non-contact kickboxing. So Sandra Swain, who's a new member of the rec department committee, she brought somebody in just to talk about options, and it could be like youth to adults and stuff like that. So we brainstormed about that. So it was a great meeting. Okay. Oh, there was two other things. So there was one about painting snowplows and using that as an advertisement, just the blades. So we're gonna look into whether we could do that or not. And then having a crafters market as opposed to a farmer's market, maybe in different locations, trying to get people in, and like a music in the park thing. So it was a brainstorming. Stay tuned for further details.
we look forward to your report. So upcoming meetings and unfinished business, November 28th, 2023 at 7 p.m. is a special council meeting, and that's bylaw 101 or planning 101. I'm sorry, yes. And the advisory committee to council will be meeting on November 29th, 2023 at 7 p.m. And our next meeting, regular council meeting, will be December 5th, 2023 at 7 p.m. And that brings us to item 15, and I have a motion that council go into closed session pursuant to section 239 2B and E of the Municipal Act regarding 3 personal matters about an identifiable individual and 1 litigation or potential litigation. Moved by council.
And then also advice of it was my further.
Okay. Sorry about that, yeah. Advice subject to solicitor-client privilege, and we would be going into closed at 7:39 p.m. Councilor Burns? Yes. Oh, I need a mover and a seconder first. Moved by Councilor Burns, seconded by Councilor Buckwell. Councilor Burns? Yes. Councilor Buckwell?
Yes.
Councilor Robinson?
yes.
Councilor Reddy-Dunkel?
Yes.
And a yes, it's carried. Thank you. Welcome back. We are closed and I have a motion to council proceed as directed in closed session regarding litigation or potential litigation. Moved by Councillor Burns, seconded by Councillor Buckle. Councillor Burns? Yes. Councillor Buckle?
Yes.
Councillor Robinson?
Yes.
Councillor Reddy-Johnson?
Yes.
Yes. Very good. I have a, okay. So I have a motion that council directs staff to offer the local 4-H club free rental on Wednesdays in January, February, and March of 2024 at the Golden Lake Hall or the Snowdrifters facility on the requested 15th of January, February, and March 2024.
I just thought of something. How does that tie in February with the race weekend?
But they could change it to Golden Lake. couldn't they?
Yeah,
It says one or the other.
okay. Do I have a mover and a second? Moved by Councillor Buckwell, seconded by Councillor Robinson. Councillor Burns? Yes. Councillor Buckwell?
Yes.
Councillor Robinson?
Yes.
Councillor Reddy-Johnson?
Yes.
And I'm a yes, and that's carried. Thank you. And I have a motion, item 16.3, that staff proceed as directed in closed session regarding the taxation issue. Moved by Councillor Robinson, seconded by Councillor Buckles. Councillor Burns? Yes. Councillor Buckles?
Yes.
Councillor Robinson?
Yes.
Councillor Reddy-Johnson?
Yes.
Yes. Carried, thank you. And finally, our confirmatory bylaw, that bylaw 2023-50, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council for November the 21st, 2023. Be read the first and second time this 21st day of November, 2023. Moved by Councillor Reddy-Johnson, seconded by Councillor Burns. Be read a third time and finally passed this 21st day of November, 2023. Councillor Burns? Yes. Councillor Buckle?
Yes.
Councillor Robinson?
Yes.
Councillor Reddy-Johnson?
Yes.
Yes. Very good. And finally, I have a motion that this November 21st, the regular meeting of council adjourns at 8:58 p.m. Moved by Councillor Reddy-Johnson, seconded by Councillor Robinson. Councillor Burke? Yes. Councillor Buckle?
Yes.
Councillor Robinson?
Yes.
Councillor Reddy-Johnson?
Yeah.
And yes. Very, thank you. We are adjourned. Safe trip.